I met her during my second year of college. I was the quiet type, always buried in books or lost in my sketch pad. While others went to parties, I found comfort in color. Paint could say what words often couldn't. That's when I saw her. Sarah. She was laughing under the old campus oak tree, her head thrown back like she didn't care that the world was watching. In that moment, I didn't know how deeply she'd carve herself into my life. Sarah was from the drama department. She was energy and confidence wrapped in a person, the kind of girl who didn't have to speak to make people lean in. I didn't know how to approach someone like her, but fate has a funny way of working. One day, she caught me sketching her from across the quad. I braced myself for embarrassment, but instead of being creeped out, she walked over, glanced at the drawing, and smiled. "That's how you see me?" she asked. "Yeah," I whispered, hardly meeting her gaze. She asked if she could keep the sketch, and just like that, everything changed. We started spending time together. At first, it was brief chats by the library steps, quiet walks between classes. But it grew. We talked about everything and nothing. She told me I saw the world differently. I told her she made me want to look at it longer. Once, she sat still for over 2 hours while I painted her. I remember how the light hit her cheekbone. She looked at me like she wasn't just a muse, but someone who wanted to stay. We dreamed together. I wanted to travel, paint murals in forgotten towns, maybe teach one day. She wanted to act, but more than fame, she wanted to matter. "If we ever lose touch," she whispered one night while lying beside me in the art room, "promise you'll remember me like this, not as someone who left." I promised. But even then, little cracks were beginning to show. She'd leave me waiting sometimes. Her voice would drop when she answered certain phone calls. One day, I saw a message pop up on her phone. "Miss you too." She said it was her cousin. I believed her. Because when you love someone that deeply, denial feels like safety. I painted everything about her. Her blue scarf, her laugh during coffee dates, her asleep in the library. Every brushstroke was something I was too afraid to say aloud. It felt real. It had to be. But love, especially young love, has blind spots. Her texts became shorter, her smile more distant. I blamed stress, exams, performances, but deep down, I knew. One night, she canceled our date last minute. No reason, just silence. I didn't text back. I just walked. And then I saw her through a cafe window near campus. She was sitting with an older guy, leaning in close. Her hand rested gently on his. I watched long enough to know, long enough for something inside me to quietly fall apart. The next day, I asked her directly. She didn't lie, but she didn't apologize either. "I don't know what I want," she said. "Is it him?" I asked. "Maybe," she replied. "I feel something. I'm trying to figure it out." She didn't mean to hurt me. People rarely do. They just do. After that, I stopped painting. I avoided every spot on campus that reminded me of her. I boxed up the sketches, the photos, the letters. One day, I took the portrait I'd painted of her, the one she sat for, and I burned it behind the art building. The flames consumed her face first. I thought it would free me, but it just left a new kind of scar. People told me to move on. But how do you move on from something that once felt like your future? She never reached out. No apology, no closure, just silence. And in that silence, I learned how loud memories can be. I graduated, packed up, and left behind the town that once felt like everything. I tried to forget her, but forgetting isn't healing. You can bury a wound, but it still aches when the weather changes. I wondered sometimes if she ever thought of me, if she ever missed the quiet boy who loved her more than his own future. But wondering like that, it keeps you tied to ghosts. Years passed. Eventually, I met someone else. Her name was Emma. Kind, patient, the kind of person who listened when you spoke, and even more when you didn't. We got married, had 2 kids, built a quiet, steady life. It wasn't the fireworks I'd once known, but it was safe, steady. Emma didn't try to erase my past. She simply held space for it. That was her gift. Our children are grown now, off living their lives. They think I'm fine. I've always been good at hiding the parts that still hurt. I taught art and literature for 30 years. Every now and then, a student would remind me of Sarah. A glance, a laugh, a bold line in a painting. And suddenly, I was 20 again. Emma passed away 6 years ago. Cancer. Quick and merciless. I sat by her side through it all. Her last words were, "I hope I loved you enough." "You did," I whispered. And I meant it, in the only way I knew how. After she was gone, I found myself reaching for an old sketchbook. Sarah's name was still scribbled in the margins. Faded, but still there. I moved to a smaller place, started doing odd jobs, painting fences, fixing shutters. Not because I needed the money. I just couldn't sit still with my thoughts anymore. One rainy afternoon, I found something I thought I'd destroyed. The second version of Sarah's portrait. Half finished, buried behind old canvases. I stared at it, not with longing, but with quiet recognition. I added a few final strokes. Her eyes, the background. Not to relive the past, but to finish what I'd started. Then came the day I was painting a fence on the edge of town. The house belonged to a graceful older woman named Mrs. Bennet. She offered me tea and eventually conversation. "You remind me of someone," she said. "People say that a lot." I smiled. On my last day there, she stood in the doorway and said, "If I were your age, I'd invite you in." I chuckled until she added, "You have the same eyes as the boy my daughter used to talk about." "Your daughter?" I asked. She nodded. "Her name was Sarah. She passed away 5 years ago. Cancer." My chest tightened. She motioned me inside. There, on the mantel, was a photo of Sarah, older, softer, but unmistakable. Next to it, the painting. My painting. The one I thought I'd burned. "She left this behind," Mrs. Bennet said. "Said someone once saw her better than she saw herself." She handed me a parcel as I left. I opened it at home. Inside, a letter and a sketch I'd made of Sarah back in college. Laughing, head tilted back. The letter was brief, just a page. She wrote that she never stopped thinking of me, that she thought she'd made the right choice. But years later, nothing ever felt real again. "I broke you," she wrote, and I couldn't face what I'd done. I read it twice, not with anger, but something closer to peace. Love doesn't always end in fireworks, or forever. Sometimes it lingers, in sketches, in letters never sent, in apologies whispered through time. I don't know if she ever forgave herself, but in that moment, I forgave both of us. And maybe that was enough.